I'm sure by now you've seen this voiceover style of video over on Instagram or TikTok.
I color corrected this footage using only my iPhone.
Day in the life as a 29-year-old who lives in New York City.
I'm going to teach you 2 ways to convince yourself to do hard things.
And you probably thought that they were easy to make until you tried it yourself and realized it's a lot harder and took you a lot longer than you expected. And how do I know this? It's because that was my experience. That's why in today's video, I want to show you my process on how to do this voiceover style video, because once you learn to master it efficiently, this can be one of the easiest videos to make to help build your community, grow your audience, and keep viewers really engaged. So let's dive in. Before you start creating your video, the first step is to think about what you want your video to be about using this voiceover style specifically. This is your sign to have a date night and make a joint vision board with your partner. For me, I found that this style works best for showing a routine, a process, behind the scenes, vlog style videos like a day in the life. The reason why is because the voiceover style video allows you to be present in what you're actually doing and decrease your filming time in more than half. For example, if I was showing my hair routine and I was talking to camera at the same time as I'm explaining the hair routine, if I mess up talking to camera, I'm gonna have to redo my entire hair routine. But it would be really hard for me to do that because I've already done the routine. Like, what am I supposed to do? Dry my hair, start over? It just really becomes a gong show when you mess up talking to camera on something that you really want to be present for. If you want ideas on what to create videos on, this is my recommendation of a prompt that you can use on ChatGPT, Notion AI, or any AI generation tool you're using. So first, give context on who you are and what you do. I'm the co-founder of Super Boba, a superfood milk tea brand that sells online only. Then share your constraints and the goals that you have. So I wrote, I want to make TikToks and Reels that are maximum 60 seconds long that will have a voiceover over a series of B-roll footage. My goal is to show more behind the scenes of our business and allow people to get to know me better as a founder. Can you give me a list of ideas of videos that I can make with this style and include the B-roll footage that I should be taking? And I was really impressed by the results. Not only did ChatGPT give me pretty obvious ones like my day in the life as a founder or why I started the business, but it also came up with really great creative ones like what's in my founder bag, or if you're thinking of starting a business, watch this. I also love what I eat in a day as a founder, the struggles of working from home. And so as you can see, when you're doing this voiceover style video, you're able to do more storytelling, you're able to show your audience a whole different side of you that you wouldn't otherwise be able to show just by doing talking head videos or doing carousel posts. And the truth is your footage can be about anything. For example, I saw this video right here where this girl was just making a matcha and her voiceover really had nothing to do with the matcha at all. So let me play it to give you some inspiration.
My number one piece of advice for anybody who wants to get into shooting and editing content is film random stuff. Because if you can make the most random thing look interesting, that's already setting you up for success. I make art content and I'm not going to be filming my matcha making process on a daily basis, but just telling myself, hey, let's do this in 10 minutes and just see what kind of cool shots I can get really challenged me to think about framing and all this type of stuff, right? Just next time you're like cooking dinner or whatever the heck you're doing, film it, see if you can edit something cool out of it. You don't have to post it, and then kind of apply those techniques that you've used to whatever your niche is and whatever video you want to make next.
Once you have an idea of what your video is going to be about, the next step is to create an outline. Now, this is optional. For example, if I was doing my hair routine, I do this routine every single week, so I'm just going to document me doing it. I don't need to do an outline. But there are other types of videos where I might do an outline so that I have a better idea of what specific B-roll footage to take, and so that I am really being more efficient with my time. For example, if I was doing a day in my life, I would then outline my schedule for that day. And then under each section, I would think about what B-roll shots I should be taking, or at least being more mindful of. Or let's say the video I'm making is more story-driven or lessons-driven, then I will definitely do an outline for that. For example, with Super Boba, we have a Behind the Boba series, or a lot of our videos are actually very educational about our product. And so I will sit down and write a script for that. And as I'm writing the script, I will also think about what B-roll footage I already have or that I need to take to really help move the story forward in that video. Now, an outline doesn't necessarily mean that's your actual script. It's just giving you some structure so that you're not scrambling the day of and not knowing what footage to take. Now, speaking of B-roll, that's the next step, capturing B-roll. Regardless if you're winging it or you have a clear outline, the key to capturing B-roll is keeping in mind these 3 shots: a wide shot, medium shot, and close-up shot. This is the same principle that I use for vlogging, and it also applies to short form content as well, especially if you want to keep the viewer visually entertained as they're watching your reel or TikTok. If I could break it down for you, the wide shot is going to allow people to see more of your environment and create that context that people need, whereas a medium shot allows people to feel like they're with you as you're doing the action, and then finally a close-up shot allows people to see the little details. So let's say I wanted to do a video of me working. Well, I could do a simple video like this of me working, but if I kept it the same frame throughout the entire video, it would be a little bit boring. Now, instead, what I would do to make the video more engaging and to also give me a little bit more variety when I'm editing the video is with this one action of me working at my desk, for the wide shot, I would actually move my tripod farther in the room so that you can see my entire office. Maybe you can see me walking on my walking pad so people have more context. For the medium shot, I would move my camera closer to me on the desk and show footage of me staring at my computer screen and typing away at my keyboard. Finally, for the close-up shot, I will maybe do a close-up of my shoes and walking on the walking pad, my fingers clacking away at my keyboard. Even though it's this one action of me working, while having these 3 shots, it really allows people to paint the picture of the environment and provide way more visual interest. Of course, not every single footage is going to make it to the end video, but if you have that rule of thumb in mind, for every action you have at least 3 varieties of shots, you're going to have way more to work with when you're editing the video. Also, do not be afraid of audio. I find that even though you think voiceover videos should be 100% voiceover, the best ones actually have a few clips where you could hear more of the sound effects. So if I was making a drink, I would make an effort to get the sound of the ice cubes clinking into the glass. Or if I was working, I would make an effort to get the sounds of me typing on my keyboard. Now, speaking of sound and the importance of using sound to make your video more engaging, one thing that has leveled up my videos personally is using Epidemic Sound, the sponsor of today's video. Now, you all know that I use Epidemic Sound for my YouTube videos, and ever since using them, I've actually noticed my average view duration increasing. But what you don't know is I use Epidemic Sound for Instagram as well. And yes, I know that using trending audio for Instagram is a best practice, but there are times when using Instagram's audio will actually hurt you. For example, if you have followers from different countries where Instagram music is banned or not available, then your whole video will be muted for them. How I know this is because I have followers that have encountered this issue. Or let's say if you're using original audio to use for your Instagram Reels, if the owner of that original audio deletes their video, then your video will also be muted as well. Not only this, if you are a business owner like me, if you ever want to run ads on your content, you're not going to be able to if you use music from TikTok or Instagram because it is not commercial-free music. That's why for a lot of the videos that I post over on my business account, I actually use Epidemic Sound. This allows me to maximize the usage of that video. The best part is that Epidemic Sound makes it so easy to find the perfect song with their curated playlist, so I'm never really at a loss of what music to use. What's also cool is with their commercial plan, they're beta testing this Voices feature where you have access to all these professional voice artists that will say whatever you want thanks to AI. Let me show you an example.
Instagram voiceover reels can be really easy to make when you learn how to do each step in the right order. Keep watching this video to learn how.
Now, I can see this being really helpful for those of you who have a faceless account, who want to do ads, who want a professional intro, outro for your podcast, a narrator for your audiobook, or if you're someone who doesn't like your own voice, but you want to get started with doing voiceover videos. So definitely consider getting the commercial plan if you're interested in using this feature. Now, if you want to try Epidemic Sound for free, click the link in my description box or in my pinned comment below, and make sure you use the coupon code Vanessa to get 50% off your first 2 paying months with Epidemic Sound. But make sure you take advantage of the coupon quick because the offer only lasts until April 15. Now at this point, you would have captured the footage that you need to make your voiceover video, and this is the step that most people skip, and that is organizing your B-roll. Even though in the short term you think that you're saving time by skipping this step, in the long term you're gonna wish you started sooner, because the more voiceover videos that you do, you're gonna notice yourself reusing a lot of the old B-roll or refilming the same B-roll over and over again. So at minimum, as a best practice, when you're done filming, create a separate album on your phone and then drop all of those B-roll clips in that album. That way, the day that you're editing, you have everything organized in one folder versus you scrambling, going into your main album, trying to find all the footage. Now, at some point, as you make more voiceover videos, you're gonna notice a pattern. There's gonna be certain B-roll footage that you always need or that you always have to refilm over and over again. This is when you wanna start creating folders for most of the categories that you see yourself using most often. For example, folders that show you working, working out, taking client meetings, filming, eating, celebrating, crying. It really depends on the niche that you have, but I guarantee as you do more videos, you're gonna start to notice those patterns and those categories will naturally emerge. Now, if you are someone that prefers editing on your phone, then you're gonna wanna create these folders on your phone natively. It's gonna be a lot easier anyways for you to organize within your phone. But if you're someone like me that has video editors or you just prefer editing on desktop, which we'll talk about later in this video, then I recommend actually creating those folders on your computer. You can do this locally on your computer, or you can use any type of storage management tool like Dropbox, Google Drive. In my case, I use frame.io, and this B-roll library is essential for my physical product business because we have so much documentation of our entire journey, and most of the content that we make are voiceover videos. And so you'll see here that there's tons of different folders categorizing each part of our journey. This makes it a lot easier for our video editors to have autonomy to edit the videos without asking me all the time to make new content. Welcome to day 2 of me filming this video. Class is officially in session. We are now gonna talk about editing, the bane of most people's existence when trying to make these videos. Now, a question I often get is whether or not it's easier to drop your footage first and then do the voiceover later, or do the voiceover first and then drop the footage later. I have always found it to be easier when you do the voiceover first. So let's use this video as an example where I talked about a date night I had with Leon where we made vision boards. During this night, I took a bunch of B-roll footage knowing that I definitely wanted to make a voiceover reel about this experience. On the day I wanted to edit the video, I then wrote the script to do the voiceover for. Now, you could just do this on your own, but with the help of AI, it definitely makes it easier. And so what I did was I went to Notion AI and I said, can you help me script a 30-second reel? The hook is, this is your sign to have a date night and make a joint vision board with your partner. Here are some of the things that happened. And then I started listing all of the things that happened that evening, keeping in mind all of the B-roll footage that I have. And what happened was Notion AI spat out a 30-second script. Now, you don't have to use Notion AI for this. You can use ChatGPT, Claude AI, whatever AI generation tool that you're using. But this has helped me so much when it comes to making voiceover reels and having a better idea of what to do with all the footage that I have. Now, there are exceptions where maybe doing the voiceover after is actually easier. For example, in this video where it was more of a day in the life as a founder, I dropped all of my clips in chronological order and then I did the voiceover narrating what I did that day. It really comes down to personal preference and the style of video that you're doing. But on the topic of voiceovers, there are 3 ways that you can record your voiceover. If you are editing on mobile, my recommendation is to use the CapCut app. And if you're wondering why I'm using CapCut and not Instagram directly, it's because I have trust issues. I have spent hours editing videos only for Instagram to glitch out, delete my entire video. And so now I use third-party apps like CapCut or Descript because yeah, I just don't trust. And then record your voiceover natively in the CapCut app. If you want crisper audio, my recommendation is to use an external microphone. I use the DJI Mic Mini, which I am obsessed with. I use it for YouTube, I'm using it right now, and it comes with an adapter so I can use it on my phone too. Now, the second way to record your voiceover, specifically if you are editing on desktop, is to just record your voiceover on a voice memo and then airdrop it to yourself on desktop. If you're editing on CapCut desktop, there is a button right here called Voiceover. If you click it, you can also record your voiceover directly within the CapCut desktop app. Finally, the third way that you can record your voiceover is to do a talking head video like this. I typically like doing this for Super Boba when I am not sure I have enough B-roll footage to actually tell the story. This does take a little bit more time than audio only because you have to memorize your script, but I personally find it to be worth it just to have that insurance and make sure that I have enough visuals to fill up my video. Now that you've recorded the voiceover, the next step is to actually edit the video. But my recommendation is before you start trimming your B-roll footage and doing all the things, the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is to edit your audio. This is going to save you so much time because once you have your audio locked in, you're happy with the voiceover, it's easier to determine what you need to trim for your B-roll footage. Personally, I like editing on desktop, and later you are gonna understand why, but if you are editing on mobile, it goes without saying when you're editing your little voiceover clip, you wanna delete any mistakes that you have, but you also want to delete any major pauses. When you look at the audio track, it becomes clear the areas where maybe you're taking a breath, and if you don't see it, I recommend that you actually zoom in on your audio track so you can clearly see all of the dead points where you're not really saying anything or maybe there's a pause. Simply just trim those out. This is not only gonna help the video flow better, but it's also gonna help you keep people's short attention spans. For those of you who like to edit on mobile, keep living your life on hard mode, but if you are someone like me and likes to live life on easy mode, I highly recommend switching over to desktop for all of your editing, where once you upload your video and have your voiceover, you can transcribe that audio so you can now edit via text. This is gonna make it so much easier to see any errors that you've made and delete them in one go. You can also identify filler words and make it so that it will automatically delete any pause that's over a certain amount of seconds that you set. And then from here, most of your time is gonna be spent trimming those clips. So on mobile, you start splitting the clips and deleting the sections you don't want. And then on desktop, all you have to do is click on the area where you want to split, and automatically you're gonna have a button that you can press to help you split that clip, and then you delete whatever section you don't want. Now, once you are fully happy with how your voiceover sounds, you've deleted all the gaps, mistakes, and your filler words like ums and ahs, the next step, if you haven't done already, is to drop your clips. If you are editing on mobile and choosing to live in hard mode, make sure you pre-trim those clips in advance, especially if you already have sections you know you want to put in the video. If you're doing it on desktop, you just transfer your clips over, and then from there, you can start trimming and splitting and doing all the things. One thing to keep in mind is after you've dropped all those clips, regardless if you're doing it on desktop or mobile, is to make sure all of those clips are muted. You definitely want to make sure your voiceover can actually be heard. Now, earlier in this video, I did mention to make your video sound a little bit more interesting, you can leave a few clips unmuted. For example, if you're making a drink and you want the ice cubes to be heard clinking into the glass, or if you're waking up in the morning and you want your alarm to actually sound off, then what you want to do is you want to just split that specific section that you want to have unmuted and then unmute that specific clip on its own. Catch alarm. My usual alarm is this sound where it makes me feel like I woke up in the middle of a Chinese restaurant. I washed my face and went straight to doing 20 minutes of red light therapy. As a heads up, majority of your time will be spent splitting and trimming all of these clips to make sure that it lines up with your voiceover. This is where I really want to give a shout out to my favorite editing tool, Descript. This video is not sponsored by them, but with Descript, I love how at the bottom I already see the text. So when I'm adding my B-roll footage, I can easily just line up the footage and see exactly where I need to trim the clip based on the transcript that I see. I noticed that you can't really do this on CapCut, so for me, it actually takes me a bit longer to edit on CapCut versus on Descript. But I also understand why most people like using CapCut because most of the features are free. Once you are fully happy with your video, the last step is to add the captions. The reason why you want to do this last is because if you end up changing the voiceover or you change the clips a little, you're gonna have to go back, retranscribe the video, fix the captions all over again. And just speaking from experience, it is a lot better if you are fully happy with the video and then add the captions last. Now, when I auto-generate the captions on Descript, I generally use their default template. I really like using this font because it's a common font both on Instagram and on TikTok, so it just makes the video look more native and organic. Afterwards, I will click Edit Caption and start fixing any of the typos. I'm very particular about this, and if I notice there are way too many words on the screen or things aren't lining up properly, then I will just hit the enter space so that the captions are more spread out and each frame isn't too text heavy. And if I also notice that CapCut split my captions in a weird way, I will hit the merge button to merge all of the words together and then hit the enter space to split where I want the caption to split. With desktop, you do something very similar where you'll click on captions right here, then click on generate, and then click on text where you'll be able to play with the font size and the style. There are also other templates to choose from. If you want to break up the captions, then you just click on the text and then hit the enter button. And then if you want to merge them again, you just hit the backspace button. From here, you can also correct the text as well. I'd like to mention that the video you're watching right now really covers the basics of editing through CapCut, but if you'd like to take it a step further and do editing similar to this style,
You need to remember, you are literally the main character in your movie.
The idea of talking to a camera makes your skin crawl. You're not alone.
I think we put way too much pressure on fresh starts.
go to TikTok or YouTube and search up CapCut editing tutorial, and you're gonna learn so much more about this editing software.
This is the tracking effect that you see all of the cool kids do.
I'm gonna teach you how I did this transition using only CapCut.
And also, don't be afraid to play around with style of the caption, because there are tons more templates that CapCut has and way more advanced ways to actually make it look even more aesthetic.
This is a really cool edit.
So you're a content creator that wants to learn how to add any font to CapCut.
This is how to add captions to your video the right way.
Now for me, I like to keep things really basic, so everything that I'm showing you in this video is everything that I personally do. But when I went down the rabbit hole, I definitely learned that there's a whole other world of CapCut that I haven't even mastered yet myself. Now, once you are happy with your caption, the style of the caption, the last step is to export your video. Personally, I just export in 1080p if I'm posting on social media. I'm not too nitpicky about it. I think one time or a few times I've exported it in 4K, and it's almost as if Instagram cannot handle super high quality stuff because it made my video more pixelated. Ever since then, I've just been doing 1080p, and that's worked fine for my account. Once you've exported your video, the next step is to upload it to Instagram. Over on the Instagram editor, there's really only 3 things that I do. The first is adding music, second is adding the cover photo, and lastly, the caption. So if my video doesn't already have music from Epidemic Sound, I will pick trending audio from Instagram. A pro tip is whenever you are on your Explore feed and you just hear music you like, make it a best practice to save it so that when you post, you have a library of music you already like. I find that if I don't do this, I spend a lot of time trying to find the perfect song. So just do yourself that favor because your future self will thank you. And then when it comes to the cover photo, this is always something that I forget to do until last minute. So the lazy way that I do it is I will pick a frame from my video that I think could be a cover photo. I will screenshot that, put it on my Instagram stories. Don't post it, I just put it on my Instagram stories, and then I write some text over top, and then I save that video and I use that for the cover photo. Nowadays, I don't really stress too much about the cover photo because you can always update and change that later. Once you are done all of these steps, now you can just save it to your drafts or post it directly to Instagram. Now, if you want more strategies on how I do my Instagram Reels, specifically how I make content that actually generates income, then make sure you check out this video next. As always, guys, I appreciate you, and I will see you in this video.